Hey everybody, this is Craig Caudill, the Director of Nature Reliance School here today. I'm going to do a combined dance plan and Nature Reliance School course. I think it's worthy of doing that, quite frankly, because I think the subject is going to be pretty difficult to cover in just 2 half-hour lessons. I can't really figure out how to divide this up without robbing somebody of something. So what I want to do is this. Typically what I do is I have some subject matter, I get on camera and I talk about it, okay? One of the things that I'm constantly looking at what I'm doing and what information I'm putting out and going, what am I missing? What is it that I can help people that I'm not doing, okay? I try to do a broad range of subjects so that I continually keep people engaged and get information out. But here's what I think I've been missing. I've been missing the ability to teach critical thinking skills. Okay, and I think I'm going to put some effort, no, I don't think, I'm going to put some effort into developing some ways of teaching critical thinking skills, and I'm going to start that today. And this is what I'm going to do. I am going to basically utilize the camera in this way. I'm going to pretend the camera's not there for one, okay? And I'm going to think out loud, and this is what I'm going to do. Sometimes I'm going to be behind the camera and it's going to be from my vantage point, what I'm seeing, and I'm going to try to take in as much information as I can and pass it on to you. I'm also going to be in front of the camera and again thinking out loud, and it's going to be a little silly. I've never done anything like this, and if you regularly watch me on videos, it might seem a little silly, and I beg your forgiveness for that. I'm not trying to be silly. What I am going to do is try to put onto video what's going on in my head, which is pretty difficult to do. I can do that and lay out lists and stuff of that nature, and you can take notes and you can even practice those things. But developing this ability to critically think is, in my mind, the most important aspect of survival training, is being able to think under duress, under stress. So that's what I'm going to do. So when I come back on camera, that's what I'm going to be doing. What we're going to have in mind is this when I come back on camera, is that I'm lost and I'm an average person. Okay, meaning I don't have any gear. I'm gonna have with me I'm gonna have 2 things. I'm gonna have this little hunk of paracord, and I'm gonna have basically a tarp shelter. And I'm gonna run through my processes of what I'm gonna be doing with what I've been given. Okay, so with that said, I'll see you in just a minute. Oh man. So, I can't believe that I came out here to do this video and I have gotten completely lost, and all I've got is this paracord and this tarp. So I've got to figure out what I need to do, because my truck's broken down, and I can't find my way out of here. I'm stuck. So let's do this first. All right, so let's run through our head what we need to do. We need to do, what is it? We need to STOPA and we need to Law of 3. So, all right, let's do this first. I'm going to sit down and think about what's going on. So, I'll just put this here and we'll think about what's going on. So, came out here today and checked the weather this morning, which I always do every morning. I get up and check the weather. And I know there's like a 38% chance of showers today. And we had some showers this morning. I was supposed to clear off this afternoon, but as I look around, clouds are moving pretty strongly. We've got a lot of darker clouds, which means they've got some moisture in them. And we've got a really good chance for rain. So it's not raining right now, so I don't have to worry about that. But if it were to start raining right now and I couldn't do anything else, I guess the first thing I would do would just cover up with my tarp and try to wait out the rain. Yep, I think that's what I would do. So, yeah, so let's think about what else do I have on me that I could utilize. All right, I got my folding knife, that goes with me everywhere. And I've got my wallet and my keys. No, my keys are in the truck and I don't know where my truck is. And I don't have any signal on my phone. Do I have anything in my wallet I could use? I thought I got a Fresnel lens the other day to try out that I could carry around in my wallet. And I'm sitting here realizing that I did not put it in there yet. Man, that sucks. So, lesson learned, Craig. You should have put that in your, if you bought something you're going to utilize, you need to put it in your kit immediately. Don't sit around and wait. All right, so let's see. It's not going to be too cold. If I think about what's on my body right now, I'm trying to do the whole super cool Nature Reliance School swag thing. So I don't really have the most appropriate clothing on. I've got a hoodie on. That'll provide the ability to keep the heat down on my head. I can ventilate with my hood. It's cotton though, so if I get wet, I'm gonna be in super doo-doo. So if it starts raining, first thing I need to do is get that tarp around me. Yep, I got that. I've got regular cotton socks and regular Merrell tennis shoes. So any type of movement strategy, I need to make sure I'm safe and I'm not jumping, because it'd be real easy for me to twist my ankle, which are weak. I have weak ankles, so usually I would have boots on, but I just got my shoes on today with cotton socks. How stupid is that? Man, I can't afford to have wool socks every day. Oh, man, that sucks. All right, so I've got cotton t-shirt on, cotton underwear, cotton sweatshirt, cotton socks. That's a recipe for disaster if I get wet. So no matter what happens, I cannot get wet. All right, I can handle that. The tarp will take care of me on that. Also, if I sit down on the ground, I want to put something underneath of me. My tarp, I got a good tarp. I got a 9x9 tarp, the one that I just got from Deer Creek Wilderness Outfitters. So I've got a good tarp that I can both sit on and wrap up with. All right, now what have I got? Let's take a good look at what's around that I can possibly figure out and know where to go. So I'm going to take a look around. Let's see what I can see. First off, this power line. Man, if I was going to set up with the hopes of somebody seeing me, someplace like this gives me an opportunity to be real visible. So I think what I'll do is I'll find a good place for me to set up a tarp shelter, and I'm going to put me some sort of signal on this power line right here. That'll help authorities find me, particularly if somebody's flying over, somebody drives down through here, because this is kind of an open driveway. Search and rescue team could easily come in this area. There's no gates here or anything of that nature, so they could usually utilize this as a staging area. Yeah, I put a signal right here. I'll make a big X or an SOS on this dam right here, because what I've also got is a lot of good water right here. So I'm in really good shape for water. Now I have to figure out a way to purify it. We'll figure out that in a moment, but I've got some time on that. Main thing I got to worry about right now is I need to maintain my shelter. So water will have to wait. I'll figure that out later. Looking around through here, I see all those pine trees and cedar trees there. That'll help knock the wind off. I'm kind of noticing right now that the wind is blowing, and I like to look up at trees like that, up high up in the trees, and that's how I always know rather easily if the wind's blowing. You can look in the top of trees and see branches and leaves move and stuff like that. So again, I got plenty of water here. Got another area here, looks like it's got a lot of deciduous trees, not a real big hill. I'm guessing if I go right over that hill towards those other pine trees, that I can find a really nice spot out of the wind, because right now the wind is blowing away from me. That's very important for me to recognize. I want to make sure that I know that in these temperatures, which is it's supposed to get down to about 45 tonight, not real exceptionally cold, but with the wind that could be dangerous. And so where that wind is, that is pretty important to me. So I've got to get out of this wind. If the wind is blowing away from me right here and I go over to those trees, the wind's going to be blowing right in my face. But if I go over here, the wind's still blowing that way, I can go over that hill right there and I can probably get out of the wind, which will be very, very valuable to me. That'll be really valuable to me. So there's my broke down truck. Let's assume that I can't get in and I've locked my keys in there. There you go. I've locked my keys in my truck. But man, there's a bunch of, this is like an old abandoned campsite or something, which means there's a good chance that somebody could be by here. at some point in time. I'll go over there and investigate and see if I can see any tracks or sign that somebody comes through here on a regular basis. But again, my first priority is setting up a shelter. There's some more pine trees, but they're kind of right on the edge of this power line, which means I'm going to be having a lot of exposure right there. I don't want to deal with that. And over here, same thing. I got a lot of deciduous trees, going to have a lot of exposure. I like these big concrete things. I could probably get inside of one of them and get completely out of the wind. However, after looking in them, they're going to be soaking wet in there. That's probably not a good idea with the clothing I've got on. I don't know if I could stay dry. So running through this through my head, I'm looking right over there, and I think that's the best place to start. Is I don't have to walk too far, and I can go over there and set a shelter. Now, although I'll probably have to come back to here and set up a signal, which I want to do. I can set a signal up right here. Right now, my priority is my shelter, and here's why I'm thinking that out loud to myself. Is that, what if it starts raining while I'm making this signal? I could get under my tarp, but right now, if I can set up a tarp where I can sleep, get out of the weather, and get some good rest, that'll help me be able to maintain my morale, maintain my stores of energy. And so right now, I'm thinking that's high priority. So let's walk over there, and I'll see what I can see over there when I get there. Man, I definitely don't want to get lost any more than I already am. So I can make sure I get back to where I'm going to leave my signal. And since my truck, and again, I can't get in my truck, but I'd probably stay close to it. As a matter of fact, I'd probably build a shelter underneath of it. Let's assume I don't have that truck for a moment. If that's my last known point, which is what search and rescue people are going to be looking for, is the last known point that they knew that I was, which is where my truck is stuck. I don't want to be too far from that if at all possible. So I want to leave a lot of sign, because they'll fan out right through here and they'll start looking for me. So I can leave a lot of ground sign, scrape the leaves really bad, make a lot of disturbance here. And as I go down through here, I'll break branches. That way, as I'm breaking these branches, any search and rescue people that come through here, I increase my ability to be able to be seen. So I think that'll help me be found. Because again, I really don't know a whole lot about what I'm doing. And all I got is a knife, tarp, and a little bit of paracord. Man, this tarp is heavy. Should have got a lighter one. But this is what I got. So I tell you what I'm gonna do, I think. I'm gonna walk right out through here, because I can leave a lot of sign on this old road here and make it easy for people to find me, and we'll go right over there and get out of the wind. So again, I'm leaving a lot of sign here, and I'm noticing the further I get around through here, the less the wind is moving, which is good. I got to get out of that wind. That wind is going to rob me of my body heat, particularly if I get wet. Again, it's not raining yet, so that's good. But I think what I'll do is, I'm not seeing a really good spot to set up, because I want to be visible. Even if I'm asleep, I want to be visible, and I want to be out of the weather. That's really important. So let's keep walking and see what else we can see. Now this isn't bad at all. Matter of fact, I really like this spot. All right, so I've got basically a road that's cut out here. I've got this, there's a real good cutout right here, real nice cutout. My thought is that I could set up a shelter right here. I'm really close to water, which I'm going to need soon. I need it before food, that's for sure. So I've got several pine trees right here. I've got this one. I've got several more right there. I can make that as bedding for myself. What I need to be able to do is find something that I can tie this thing off to, because my cordage, I've only got about 25 foot of cordage. And so I want to be able to utilize that. as efficiently as possible. So I can't set up, I'm thinking I can't set up a regular tarp shelter like a lean-to shelter like that. I just don't have the cordage for it, and I'm not seeing any real good trees for it either. So I could set up one of the half dome shelters, and maybe that'll be it. I'll figure out a way to get one of these guys bent over so I can stake it to the ground with just a little bit of cordage. I might not need any cordage at all. We'll set up our tarp shelter right here, and I can build a fire in this area because there's been water runoff. There's not going to be a lot of water sitting right here, and I can utilize this as my fire reflector. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to set up right here. Tell you what I probably need to do. I probably need to just stand back and look at all this, run through my head what I need to do, okay? All right, so I'm okay. I feel fine. I'm not cut or anything. That means I don't have to worry about my blood flow or oxygen flow to my body. Next thing on the list is core body temp. Right now I'm warm. It's probably about 50 to 55 degrees right now. It's going to get cold tonight. It's supposed to get down to maybe upper 30s tonight, right at 40. So being able to maintain my core body temp is going to be of importance, real importance. Shouldn't die of hypothermia unless I'm wet in those temperatures. But I've got to figure out a way to maintain my core body temp. So let's do this. I've got a tree here that's fallen down. I like that tree right there because it's got a lot of dead branches on it that are hung up in the air. That's good firewood. I never want to pick firewood off the ground, ever. I never want to pick firewood off the ground because that's where it'll maintain its moisture. It'll hold moisture on the ground. So got a lot of firewood right there. I don't have to travel far for it. Again, I've got pine boughs right here, pine boughs right there to make bedding. I got a lot of poplar tree right here. If I get real fortunate, I can find a good dead poplar and make a bow drill set with my cordages too. But I don't have that much cordage, so I got to use it sparingly. So I need to figure out how to cut a stake with my knife and not use my cordage at all to make this tarp shut up. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to bend one of these guys over and stake it down to the ground and not use cordage to do that. So let's see if I can figure out how to do that. So this piece right here, this is if I bend that over, man, that was dangerous, so I don't want to take the risk of poking myself in the eye or cutting myself. If I bend that over and stake that to the ground somehow, I can build a shelter right there. And I don't need any cordage to do that. And I just don't see another tree it's any better to allow me to utilize this as my fire reflector. So, again, since survival is a lazy man's game, I think this is about as good a spot as I can find. I've got several things here. I got firewood that I can make a fire with if I can figure out how to make a fire with a bow drill. I've got shelter. Shelter comes first. Got to have shelter. I've got a lot of moss here that I can lay down as cushion for my bedding. It'll hold a lot of moisture, so I probably want to lay it down first and then put the pine boughs on it. I'll make sure I do that. But I need to set this up first. So let's cut a stake, make a stake out of a tree. All right, so all I've got is my knife. I don't really have a large cutting tool, and I don't want to use these because these seem to be easy to break. Maybe not. Maybe they'll work. I don't know. See if I can break them. If I break them, I don't have to use my knife, and the more I can save my knife, the better off I am. So that's not too bad. I can use that as a stake. I can put it right here, stake that to the ground, if I can get that in the ground. So let's see if we can figure out a way to get that in the ground. Probably want to use my knife to sharpen that up a bit. So, yeah, I think that'll work. I don't want to use my knife no more than I have to. The more I can save my knife, because I don't know if this is a short-term event or a long-term event. So I've got that going for me. That's enough to get it down in the ground. Let's see if this is going to work, because I really don't want this to come back on me in the middle of the night. That would be disaster. So I can hold this with my body as I stake this down in the ground good. the V here will help hold this into the ground. Having a tough time get that down in the ground good. That's not going to stay real good. I need something to knock that in the ground. Yep, it's already broken. I think I'm going to have to make something green. So, again, I don't have a large cutting tool, and this is not, I want something big enough to drive in the ground, but not so big that I can't cut it with a knife. So, let's see if I can do this. Yeah, I think I can. So if I let nature work for me, and if I try to cut this, that's going to be pretty tough to just cut. So I want these to be real long. I don't need this part to be long because this is actually what's going to be, this part right here I'm going to drive down the ground. So if I can put pressure on this right where I need to cut it, then nature does the work for me. So basically bending it like that and putting it right on the bend is where I need to be. Then I put my knife away so I don't cut myself. And I never lay that knife down. I never want to put that down on the ground. Under stress, I'll lose my knife. So yeah, I can cut all these pieces off. I can, in essence, do the same thing again. I don't know if it's going to be stout enough to hold, but we're going to try. I can put that under pressure. Oh, look, it's going to break. That's good. I like it when it breaks and I don't have to cut. Don't know about this piece, though. Oh, yeah. That's going to break. I needed that to break. That's good. Now, I don't want anything to impede this going down into the ground. I'm going to get all these little branches off of it. And then we'll try to stake her down again. Yep, that looks pretty good. I've got a long stake. Basically what I can do now is I can squeeze that together, stick it down on the ground, and when I let go, it'll open it up, which will mean that it'll help hold it in the ground. I like that. So now we got our tree bent over now. Put that underneath my armpit so nothing flies back up. Because I'm basically standing over a pointed stick, and that's not real smart. But get this down into the ground as good as I can. I don't want to let this go without having something over top of me. So holding it, let it go. Yep, that's going to hold. I don't know if that's going to be big enough for me, but I don't need it big. The bigger my shelter is going to be, the easier it is for heat to escape. So I'm going to keep it small. There you go. All right, so again, I think it's real important for us to understand. It's important for me to understand, since I'm out here by myself right now, that I don't want to get wet. So I can put a shelter over me, and that's going to have a desired effect, that's for sure. But if I don't have something underneath of me, for the most part, I'm wasting my time. Heat is conducted from the body. We all know that, right? So I want to do something where I can put shelter over top of me that'll help me get out of the wind, but I got to have something underneath of me. So I'm going to go ahead and get some of that moss, lay it down directly underneath where I'm going to lay my body down, and then I'll lay the tarp on top of that. Got a good tarp. It's going to give a waterproof barrier on the ground, and then I'll put it over top of me, and I can actually set this up where I can drape that over top of me and basically be in a cocoon if I wanted to, and be able to alleviate any moisture from my breathing that'll happen pretty easily. So with that said, I think that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to get that moss first, get some pine boughs, lay all that in there. That'll give me something to lay on so I don't lay directly on the earth. And then I can go ahead and set this tarp up. And again, my thought here is that if it starts raining all of a sudden right here, I can just throw this tarp around me and sit on it and cover myself up with it. Actually, my dog's with me. I can get my dog in there with me. She'll help keep me warm, and I'll feed off her body heat too, and that'll be really, really good. And she's not a loving dog, so she won't really enjoy that, but if she gets cold enough, she will, so that'll work. So I'm gonna cut those pine boughs and get some moss now. I know this moss is real easy to get. I've messed with it a bunch. So I can just dig my fingers underneath there, I think, get way down in there, and basically pull this off like a blanket as much as I can. If I get in a real hurry, it'll just fall apart. So I want to take my time with this, and I can pull off swaths of it like this. Okay. Now, with that said, and I'm going out of the realm of what we're trying to do here, but normally I would tear all this up, but I'm not going to do that because I don't want to destroy all this moss for the sake of this video. But I would normally just go around pulling all this off just like I just tore off this little spot, and I'm going to lay it down on the earth. So with that said, I'll go back into character. I'm having fun. I hope you are too. I hope you're learning something. All right, so yep, that'll give me a good bed. So I can go down here and start laying this underneath where I'm going to be laying. That's going to do two things for me. That's going to be an insulating layer, and it's soft. So I don't want to ever discredit what I call little victories. I got that term from Rodney Van Zant, one of my tactical instructors. He would be pretty disappointed in me if I didn't make it out here today. That's a good reason right there to think about wanting to stay alive, is not letting down my other instructors that I work with. I don't want to do that. So that'll be a good start to a base. All right, so pine boughs. Here's a couple things I'm seeing right here that I really like. Number one, these are dead. They're a little damp, but because they're dead, they're going to be fantastic fire starter. So that's something to keep in mind. The beauty of this tree is that this has been hanging in the air, so it'll be drier than anything else that's laying on the ground. That's important. Now, as far as something to be comfortable, I could cut off a bunch of pine boughs like this. Wouldn't take much effort. Don't necessarily need to cut them. I can also simply go in, if I wanted to break them off without my knife, that way I don't have to use my knife. I'm gonna get as close as I can to the beginning of the branch, and I'm gonna break this branch off at the main branch. It'll be easier to come off, and I don't actually have to use my knife to cut them off. So if I pull it out, if I grab onto this thing right out here in the middle, it'll be hard. But if I meet where it meets the main branch and break it right there, it comes off real easy. And that's good to know. I'm glad I know that. So since I'm going to be making a big bed, I'm going to probably cut every branch off this tree and lay it down for comfort. That'll give me an insulating layer. It'll help me get off the ground, help me stay warm, help me stay dry. And so in a normal situation where I was actually going to be surviving, that's what I do right here. All right, so again, stepping out of character a little bit, but just assuming that I cut a bunch of those. I don't want to cut a billion of those. Don't want to ruin that tree, but I would cut a bunch of them. Now I got the beauty of this tarp, so I can lay it down underneath. So I've got good vapor, moisture barrier between me and the ground. I've not got it set up where rain that's going to come in is going to flow onto me. I want to get it up underneath the edge of the shelter itself, and then I can drape this over simply like that. So without any cordage, I have created a little lean-to structure. I can get directly underneath there, and I will in just a moment. What I can also do is, to get completely out of the wind, I can drape it all the way over there. What's going to happen if I do that, though, that's kind of bad, is that when I'm breathing in there, the moisture from my breath, and when I sweat at night, and all of us do, even in cold weather, that moisture is going to be on the inside of that structure. So a little bit of a vent would be good here. So I can easily do that even when I get underneath there. So I'll go ahead and climb up in there. Again, I've got this where I don't have to get wet in the process. Get completely up underneath there. Now, the weight of it is going to hold it down because my stake has come out. That's okay. This is actually working really good. Now, all I need to do to get completely out of the weather, I don't want to leave this out. If I leave this out, I know rain's going to hit it and it's going to come right in on me. I want to bring that all the way up in here with me and make sure the edge of my tarp is out there where the rain is out away from me. I can take a stake real easy like, any kind of stick that I could get, jab that down in the ground right here. There you go. Didn't have this prepared beforehand, but that's all right. Now I've got the ability to stake this down in, and I am basically completely covered up. Now the key here is I don't want the water dripping on me, so the more stakes that I can get this out, the better off it's going to be. If it was extremely cold, I would let this ride back, do everything I can to get that fire built right in front of me, because the hillside is going to help create a fire reflector for me. But quite frankly, I don't think I've got the supplies to make a fire. It's going to be really, really hard to make a fire with a bow drill. So I have to sit here and weigh my options, and my options are this. Do I waste all my energy, my knife, trying to create a bow drill fire that's going to be low percentage methodology of building fire? Even for somebody like me that makes bow drill fires on a regular basis, that's pretty tough to do under these conditions. It's been raining for 3 days. Everything out here is soaking wet. I've got some cordage, but really, I don't have to have it. I don't think I need it, okay? The beauty of this spot is that I've got a lot of moss laid down. I've got a lot of pine boughs laid down on top of that. I've got a moisture barrier right here that keeps me from getting wet, because with these clothes that I've got on, getting wet is going to be the key. Not getting wet is going to be the key to surviving here. So now I've got my tarp shelter. If it starts to get windy, again, I can pull this down, stake it down, everything's good. I can vent right here at my head, and everything's good to go. So right now, as far as pure survival, I think I've got a pretty good setup with just minimal supplies, which is just one tarp. Not too bad, really. All right, so there you go. And again, that's real different. I can do more of that if you want me to. I can do less of that. But here's again, I want to make sure that you understand what I want you to get out of this lesson, is the ability to think. And that's why I was talking so much out loud, as if I was thinking out loud. To go through my mind. Am I perfect? No. Did I make some good decisions? Yeah. Did I make some not so good decisions? Yeah. If you feel like there's some debatable subjects there, they are not up for debate. They are there for you to throw your knowledge in on it, okay? So if you have something to share, then by all means, put them in the comments below. The comments on these videos for the Nature Reliance School and Dance Playing course videos, the only people seeing them are the ones in the Dance Playing course and Nature Reliance School course. So you've got a lot of like-minded people there, so feel free to throw your knowledge in there and we can all learn together, literally, okay? What I was trying to do, and it's hard to do, I'm trying to basically be a beginner and look at only some of the beginning things. Yeah, I could have built a bow drill fire. I could have done it without a tarp, but and maybe I'll do that in a future webinar episode or whatever you want to call it. Is we go out, and if you want to do it this way, then you send me out and say, all right, Craig, I want you to go out and all you've got is a pocket knife. What would you do? Try to find it on a day where it's raining. Let's see what you would do. I'll be happy to do it. The more I do that, the better I get, and the more I practice and make mistakes and learn lessons, the more I can pass on to you all. So I'm happy to do that. But the key on this lesson that I wanted you to get out of it was the ability to critically think. So under stress, you're lost, you're panicked and all that stuff. You've got too many things going on through your mind. You have things like, I want to get back, I don't want to upset my wife or my kids or my parents. I don't want to upset the people that I work with that think I'm smarter than that. I tried to point out I didn't want to upset Rodney Van Zant and Tracy Trimble and these guys because they're friends and instructors that I teach alongside. That's my ego getting in the way. I think I could set that aside, but I wanted to point that out in the video, is that you might start thinking like that, and you really just got to set it aside. You know, it might give you a reason to do a good job. That's okay. I'm okay with that. But don't let it get into your head where it gets you down. That's the whole thing of critical thinking, is that you can get down on yourself when you're thinking about this process, and really it's just a process that you have to work through and find a solution. So my methodology is to know what to do to calm the panic down. That's why I teach STOPA. Stop, think, observe, plan, and act. Basically sit down, think about what's going on around you, observe what's in your environment, plan what you've got available to you, and then actively stay alive. And then the law of threes, which we've talked about a billion times. You can't live more than 3 minutes without blood flow, oxygen flow. Can't live more than 3 hours without maintaining your core body temp. Can't live more than 3 days without water. Can't live more than 3 weeks without food. Can't live more than 3 months without human companionship. So that's the order in which you want to start getting things done. And so what we have here is about 30 minutes of me thinking out loud. Realistically, without me having to talk to the camera and stuff of that nature, I could have probably made that happen in about 10 minutes. And in these weather conditions, it's rained several days in a row, maybe going to rain today. With just that tarp, I would probably be set up for quite a long time. I've got water. I'd have to figure out how to filter some water here pretty quick like. Food, trapping, hunting, edible plants, stuff of that nature, that'd have to come after that. So getting that core body temp was entirely important, and I did that in several ways. Again, getting that core body temp is what I'm talking about, is the critical thinking that I wanted you to get out of this lesson. All right, I've got to do that first. It'd be real easy to go, oh man, there's a lake there, let's purify some water. We got all kinds of water, yay, let's go get in the water, let's purify some water. No, I wouldn't do that. That's not high priority. High priority is maintaining my core body temp, and that's why I set this shelter up first thing. So with that said, I hope you got something out of it. If we need to do more of these, I'll be happy to. If we don't ever need to do another one, we'll be happy to. So send me an email at info@naturereliance.org. You can put comments in the video below, and that'll help get us where we need to be. I'll do whatever I can to help you folks, because I'm here to help you. That's what I'm here for. So come on, join in. Let's learn together.